weary struggle against sickness and frailty, when the body trembles and the spirit grows faint, there is a source of healing that transcends all human remedy. This is no ordinary cure, no fleeting relief from the hands of medicine, but a timeless power wrapped in words that speak to the very depths of the soul. The secret lies not in what the eyes see or the touch feels, but in a divine whisper that calms the storm within, that mends what science cannot reach, and restores strength where weakness has taken hold. Tonight we will uncover the profound mystery of a psalm. No, not just any psalm, but the only psalm that holds the key to curing any disease, bringing peace, power, and life where despair has long reigned. This is a journey into healing that begins in the mind, is sealed in the heart, and triumphs over every affliction known to man. The first remarkable sign of the healing power contained within this psalm is the immediate peace it brings to a troubled mind. When illness strikes, often it is not just the body that suffers. The mind becomes a battlefield of fear, anxiety, and despair. The uncertainty of the future, the ache of pain, and the loneliness of affliction weigh heavily on the soul. Yet this psalm offers a refuge, an unshakable calm that descends like a gentle breeze over a stormy sea. It quiets the tumult within, allowing the restless spirit to find rest even amidst the chaos. This peace is not a mere absence of noise or distraction. It is a profound stillness that restores the shattered mind. In that sacred silence, the mind ceases its endless worries and doubts, and for the first time in what feels like forever, the soul breathes freely. There is a hush that settles over the thoughts, a pause that says, "You are not alone. You are not forgotten." It is this peace that begins the healing journey, for no medicine can fully work without the mind's surrender to calm. When one reads or meditates upon this psalm, it acts like a balm on the frayed nerves, soothing the mental anguish that often accompanies physical disease. It reassures the sufferer that there is a power greater than pain, a presence more steadfast than the darkest night. This assurance begins to loosen the grip of despair, replacing it with hope, and with hope comes strength to endure, to fight, and to believe that healing is possible. Moreover, the peace granted by this psalm transcends circumstance. It does not depend on the immediate removal of pain or the swift change of one's condition. Rather, it is a peace rooted deeply in the soul's recognition of a greater reality, one where suffering has meaning, and where healing can come not only in body but in spirit. This peace is a fortress that cannot be breached by fear or hopelessness, and it is the foundation upon which true recovery is built. In this way, the first and foremost gift of this psalm is the quieting of the troubled mind. It teaches that before the body can be restored, the soul must find rest. And once the soul rests, the path to healing opens wide, inviting the sick to step forward in faith and courage. This peace is the gateway to all other cures, and the first sign that this psalm holds a power unlike any other. The second sign of this psalm's miraculous power lies in its ability to strengthen the weakened body through what can only be described as divine rest. When illness grips the body, it exhausts not only the flesh, but also the spirit within. The constant battle against pain, weakness, and fatigue leaves one drained, a mere shadow of former strength. Yet this psalm invites the weary to a place of rest, not the fleeting kind of rest found in sleep alone, but a deeper, sacred rest that restores and renews beyond natural means. This rest is a sacred pause in the struggle, a holy reprieve where the body is not forced to fight, but is given permission to heal. It is a rest that comes from surrendering the burdens that weigh down the soul. The Psalm's words offer a sanctuary where the body can shed its weariness and the spirit can be recharged. When the mind surrenders to this rest, the body follows suit, and healing forces begin to stir from within, working silently but surely. There is a mysterious power in this rest, for it is unlike the temporary relief that comes from medicine or the sleep of exhaustion. It is a spiritual rest that replenishes the vital energy that disease attempts to steal. It quiets the nerves, calms the heart, and allows the body's natural defenses to rally with renewed vigor. This divine rest becomes a fortress where the body is shielded from the relentless wear of illness, giving it the strength to stand firm in the face of adversity. Moreover, this rest is not idleness. It is an active surrender to a higher power that commands the body to mend and the spirit to revive. In this place of sacred stillness, the body receives what it has long been denied: peace, restoration, and strength. It is a healing wellspring that flows from the soul into the flesh, bridging the gap between spiritual vitality and physical health. This rest empowers the body to reclaim what sickness has sought to take. The strengthening through divine rest also renews the will to persevere. When the body is weak, the spirit often falters, and despair threatens to overwhelm. But this psalm reawakens the tired soul by reminding it of its connection to a healing power that transcends physical limitations. The body, once weakened and frail, begins to rise with new strength, fueled by a rest that is more than mere sleep. It is restoration ordained by divine grace. In the midst of pain and struggle, the psalm acts as a healing lullaby that cradles the body and soul. It teaches that true strength does not come from relentless effort alone, but from the willingness to rest in the healing presence that surrounds and sustains. This rest is a shield and a source of power, renewing the body's capacity to fight on when natural strength fades. Finally, this divine rest is a promise, an assurance that the body is never beyond hope, never beyond repair. It whispers to the weary that healing is possible, not just through human means, but through a rest that replenishes all that disease has depleted. This strengthening rest is the second sign that reveals why this psalm is truly the cure that conquers any disease. When all natural remedies have been exhausted and every earthly hope seems to slip through trembling fingers like sand, this psalm rises like a blazing torch to ignite hope anew. There comes a time in the battle with illness when doctors' words grow heavy with uncertainty and pills no longer bring comfort. It is in this desolate hour that the true power of this psalm reveals itself, by rekindling a hope that no science or medicine can manufacture, a hope born from something far deeper than human understanding. This hope is not a fragile wish or idle daydream. It is a living, burning flame that sustains the weary soul in its darkest night. It whispers to the heart that healing is still possible, that the story is not finished, and that the hand of restoration is not outstretched in vain. When the body falters and the spirit threatens to give way, this hope rises as a fierce defender, standing guard over the promise of recovery. Many have walked through the valley of despair, feeling abandoned by every remedy, their faith slipping like a threadbare garment. Yet, when they turn to this psalm, they find an ember that refuses to die, a spark that rekindles the will to fight on. This hope is not born from visible evidence, but from the steadfast conviction that healing can come when all else fails. It fuels perseverance and resilience, giving strength to continue against overwhelming odds. This psalm acts as a beacon cutting through the fog of doubt and fear. It guides the sufferer's heart back to a place of courage and expectation. Where once there was only helplessness, now there is a renewed vision, a glimpse of light breaking through the darkest clouds. It challenges despair itself, declaring that no matter how long the night, the dawn will come. Hope kindled by this psalm is the sacred fire that warms the coldest, most broken places within. It mends the shattered fragments of the spirit, piecing together a heart battered by sickness and worry. This hope restores a sense of purpose, reminding the soul that life still holds meaning, and that healing is within reach, even when the body feels far from whole. This hope is contagious. It spreads from heart to heart, lifting spirits that might otherwise sink into desolation. It speaks of restoration and renewal, not as distant dreams, but as living realities waiting to be embraced. In this way, the psalm is not merely words on a page, but a fountain of hope bubbling up in the midst of despair. It is important to recognize that this hope does not deny the reality of suffering or the severity of disease. Rather, it confronts those realities with a courage born of faith, faith in a power that transcends the limits of flesh and blood. It is a hope that faces the storm squarely, unafraid and unyielding. For those who have tasted the bitterness of failed treatments and the heaviness of fading strength, this psalm offers a lifeline. It urges the weary to hold fast, to cling to hope even when every other thread seems frayed. This hope is a gift, a divine spark that fuels the healing process long after human hands have grown tired. Thus the third sign reveals itself as the psalm's ability to ignite hope where natural remedies fall silent. It breathes life into the hopeless, fuels the weary, and lights a path through the darkness. Without this hope, healing remains distant, but with it, the impossible becomes possible. The fourth sign of this psalm's extraordinary power is its ability to unleash unseen forces over both physical and spiritual darkness. Illness is not always merely a battle of the flesh. Often it is accompanied by a shadow that creeps quietly but surely into the spirit, an unseen weight that drapes over the soul like a shroud. This psalm speaks into that darkness, commanding light where shadows lurk, and bringing victory over forces that no medicine can touch. It is easy to forget that behind many diseases lie battles far more complex than symptoms and diagnoses. There is a spiritual dimension where fear, doubt, and despair gather strength, feeding on weakness and breeding hopelessness. This psalm confronts these invisible enemies head-on, releasing a power that shatters their grip and drives them away. It does not merely address the body's ailments, but the darkness that accompanies them. In the silence of suffering, when the night seems endless and the soul is weary with doubt, the psalm cries out like a trumpet blast, breaking the chains of unseen oppression. It calls forth a power that is not of this world, an authority that rises above pain and shadow to bring light and healing. This power is felt deep within the heart, a warmth that ignites courage and dispels fear, but is unseen to the eyes, is made manifest to the spirit. The psalm's words become a sword, cutting through the thickest veil of despair, and a shield, protecting the fragile soul from the attacks of doubt and fear. It stirs a force that fights alongside the sufferer, unseen but present, rallying strength in the midst of weakness. This unseen power also manifests in renewed clarity and focus. Illness often clouds the mind and dulls the senses, but the psalm sharpens the spirit's vision. It awakens a keen awareness of the divine presence, a recognition that the struggle is not in vain, and that victory is possible. This clarity fuels determination and renews the will to persevere. Moreover, the psalm's power does not act in isolation, but aligns the sufferer with a force greater than themselves. It connects the one in pain to an infinite source of strength that transcends human limitation. This connection transforms weakness into might, despair into courage, and defeat into triumph. This spiritual power is not loud or boastful. Rather, it is a quiet, steady flame that burns within the heart. It may not always be visible to the world, but its effects are undeniable. Renewed energy, restored hope, and a profound sense of peace that defies circumstance. This power works silently but surely, weaving healing into every fiber of the body and soul. The Psalm's unleashing of this power is also a call to stand firm amid the storm. It encourages the sufferer to resist the temptation, to give in to darkness, to hold fast to faith, even when the night is long and the battle fierce. This steadfastness becomes a testament to the Psalm's transformative power. For those who feel overwhelmed by the unseen forces that illness can bring, this psalm offers a sanctuary. It assures them that no shadow is too deep, no night too dark for the light it releases. This power is greater than any affliction and can turn the tide of suffering into a victory of spirit and body alike. In this way, the fourth sign reveals a profound truth. Healing is not only physical, but spiritual. And this psalm commands a power that breaks every chain, banishes every shadow, and restores light to the darkest places. It is a power unseen, but deeply felt, a power that conquers all. The fifth sign of the healing power of this psalm is its remarkable ability to revive the spirit when it is broken and renew the will to fight when all seems lost. When illness drags the body down and the weight of suffering presses heavily on the soul, it is easy for the spirit to grow weary and the heart to lose its resolve. But this psalm reaches deep into the places where despair festers and breathes new life into the fainting spirit. In moments of weakness, the soul can become as brittle as dry leaves, ready to crumble under the slightest pressure. The psalm acts like a rainstorm in a drought, saturating the spirit with fresh hope and strength. It revives that which had been lost, the fire of determination, the courage to endure, and the desire to press onward through the darkest trials. This revival is not a fleeting spark, but a sustained flame that burns steadily, warming the heart and illuminating the path ahead. It reminds the sufferer that though the body may falter, the spirit can rise like an eagle, soaring above the pain and adversity. The psalm teaches that healing is not just the restoration of flesh, but the rekindling of the inner fire that drives the will to live and fight. When the spirit is revived, the weary soul finds new reasons to hope, new reasons to persevere. It rekindles faith in the possibility of recovery, even when the road seems endless and the obstacles insurmountable. This renewal of will is the lifeblood of healing, for without it, the fight against illness grows faint and the desire to overcome fades. The psalm offers words that stir the heart, words that call forth courage from the depths of despair. It challenges the sufferer to stand firm, to resist the temptation to surrender, and to find strength in the midst of weakness. It is a call to arms for the soul, a summons to take up the mantle of endurance and press forward with unwavering resolve. This renewal also breathes life into the will, which can become paralyzed by fear and discouragement. The psalm restores the power of choice, the power to say, "I will not give up," even when the body is broken and the future uncertain. It empowers the spirit to rise each day with renewed determination, ready to face the challenges that lie ahead. Moreover, this revival is a source of joy amid suffering. When the spirit is renewed, it finds reasons to rejoice despite pain. This joy is a weapon against despair, a reminder that life is still precious and worth fighting for. The psalm awakens this joy, pouring light into the darkest places of the soul. The power of revival also brings clarity of purpose. It focuses the mind on the goal of healing and recovery, helping the sufferer to set aside distractions and fears. It sharpens resolve and strengthens commitment, making the path forward clearer and more attainable. This renewal of spirit and will also nurtures resilience, the capacity to bounce back after setbacks. Illness often comes with trials and relapses, but the psalm instills a resilience that refuses to be defeated by temporary defeats. It teaches that every fall can be met with a stronger rise. The psalm's power to revive the spirit also fosters patience. Healing is rarely swift, and the process can test even the strongest hearts. But the renewal it brings helps the sufferer endure the long wait, trusting that restoration is coming in its perfect time. In this way, the psalm becomes a source of encouragement and strength, whispering to the soul in moments of weakness, "Rise again, fight again, hope again." It breathes life where there was death, courage where there was fear, and strength where there was weakness. This revival is a gift, a divine breath that fills the lungs of the spirit and sets the heart beating with renewed vigor. It is the force that keeps the weary soldier of sickness marching on toward victory. Thus the fifth sign reveals the psalm's profound power to restore, not just the body, but the very spirit that fuels the fight for health and wholeness. The sixth sign reveals a power so profound, so deeply transformative, that it transcends all understanding. It brings lasting peace beyond circumstances. In the midst of pain, turmoil, and uncertainty, this psalm offers a peace that does not waver, a peace that stands firm even when storms rage and the body is weak. This peace is not dependent on health or ease. It is a treasure kept safe within the soul, untouched by the changing tides of life. When illness strikes, it is not only the body that suffers. The mind is often tossed like a ship on a stormy sea. Anxiety, fear, and unrest rise like waves, threatening to drown the spirit in despair. Yet the psalm acts as an anchor, holding fast amid the tempest. It calms the restless heart and stills the troubled mind, offering a refuge where peace can dwell. This peace is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of a quiet confidence that all will be well in due time. It is a peace that surpasses the understanding of the world, rooted deeply in a trust that cannot be shaken by circumstance. The psalm invites the sufferer into this quiet sanctuary, where the noise of worry and fear fades away. It is a peace that speaks to the very core of the soul, soothing the anguish caused by disease. This peace flows like a gentle river through every aching limb and every troubled thought. It wraps the sufferer in a calm embrace, whispering reassurance in moments of doubt and pain. Unlike fleeting moments of relief that come and go with symptoms, this peace endures. It is a steadfast companion through every trial, a light that never dims, even in the darkest nights. The psalm plants this peace firmly in the heart, making it an unshakable foundation for the journey toward healing. This lasting peace is a testimony to the power of the psalm, for it does not depend on the body's condition or the absence of suffering. It remains when all else fades, the medications, the treatments, the hopes of quick recovery. It is the quiet strength that sustains long after physical vigor has waned. Moreover, this peace is a shield against despair. When the mind is tempted to succumb to fear or bitterness, the psalm's peace rises like a fortress, protecting the heart from the corrosive effects of hopelessness. It is a peace that guards the soul against the storms of despair and discouragement. This peace also brings clarity. When the mind is cluttered with worry and confusion, it provides a calm space where decisions can be made with wisdom and composure. It sharpens the spirit's focus, allowing the sufferer to navigate the challenges of illness with greater strength and discernment. The psalm's peace fosters patience as well, teaching that healing may come in its own time and in its own way. It encourages endurance and perseverance, reminding the sufferer that peace is not the prize of the quick, but the reward of the faithful. This peace nurtures a deep sense of gratitude, even in the face of suffering. It opens the heart to recognize small blessings and moments of grace, transforming the experience of illness into a journey of spiritual growth and discovery. It also spreads beyond the individual, touching those around the sufferer. This peace becomes a light to family and friends, a balm that soothes not only the patient, but also those who walk beside them. It creates an atmosphere of calm and hope that radiates outward. This lasting peace does not come from the absence of conflict, but from the presence of a greater power working quietly within. It is a peace born of surrender, trust, and the assurance that all things are held in hands stronger than any affliction.